I just filmed myself for 6 hours writing a trailer music song in Cubase, only to now realise I didn't record the project window. But instead of scrapping it, I've got the finished song, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the composition step by step and take you through from the first sketch all the way to the final master to show you exactly how I wrote this trailer music song. The song initially started from this synth bass line. I then doubled the root note with low string staccatos. I then added this spiccato line on the violas and the violin too, and I automated the volume so throughout the section it slowly gets louder up to a climax at the end. I then added in some trailer pianos from Keep Forest's Evolution Dragon library, and these pianos are just playing a C note, which is the key that this song is in, C minor. I then added this signal sound effect from Keep Forest's Isa X library, and I paired it with this Sonar sound effect from Ava Instinct. Next I added some low booms on the downbeats every 8 bars. And then I added in some trailer hits. And then a low percussion rhythm. Let's hear that hit one more time. And then I added some sound design, a downer sound effect. And then some whooshes. And these whooshes line up with the trailer hits, so it's a whoosh into a big hit. I find this makes the hit stand out a little bit more. I then added a riser from Keep Forest's Evolution Devastator, and I also used auto pan on this riser, and I synced this with the BPM of my project, and then I automated the panning rate. So you'll hear as this gets closer to finishing, it gets faster and faster. I also added a couple of sound effects to make this a bit more trailery. One of these sounds I eventually used as one of my main signature sound in the piece. And to round out Act 1, I took the string spiccato line and I sent it through a serum pluck patch. Now for Act 2, in the song most of the things are the same, but there's some new additions. If we start with the percussion, we've got a cymbal roll every 8 bars. All of the low percussion is hitting a bit harder. Same with the sticks. And there's more trailer hits. And in this section we introduced a sub bass hitting at the same time as the trailer hits, just for a bit extra punch. We also introduced the main melody line here. It starts on the French horn and the trombone in the first half, and in the second half it moves up to the trumpet and the violin. The violin spiccato line is louder here, but we've also introduced the violin ones from the get-go too. And I've also added the cymbalom doubling this line here too. The cello and double bass are still doing their low lines, but I've also added in this pluck patch to double up the notes, as well as the synths. We've now got Brahms here as well, and a bass line. These are all playing the same notes. And remember, with your low notes, you don't want close notes together in the low register for voice leading, otherwise there'll be too many clashing frequencies. So it's okay to have lots of stuff playing the exact same notes, and you just end up with this like wall of C or wall of F or G, whatever note it is. If you double up, that's fine, but if you have, let's say, a low C and then a low D, it's going to sound really muddy. And lastly, for Act 2, we just introduced this, I don't know what you call it, a pedal. There's these guitar pluck patches in this signal patch, just going C, 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 just bouncing back and forth between octaves. Next we go into a short bridge section, and this bridge is a little bit quieter than Act 2, and it's definitely much quieter than Act 3. I find contrast is good, so if we have a really loud Act 3, having something that's a little bit quieter than that, it makes the loud part sound even louder. Whereas if we go from loud to loud, we don't notice it so much. Whereas if we're going along at Act 2 in third gear, and then we really drop it down, and then for Act 5 we really slam home hard, if we drop it down here, that volume note difference is going to make that opening hit punch so much harder. We've just got some percussion that builds up into the final hit. These are playing whole notes here instead of half notes in the previous section, and this is just to give us this feeling like we're slowing down. Just a few little drum hits before the final act. Now we've got vocals patches doubling up the lead melody. And one more. If you can add a stinger at the end, it's a really useful tool for an editor to use. And at the end of the day, your goal as a trailer composer is to make the editor's life as easy as possible. One thing I do like doing in the final section, even though we dropped it down from the bridge, as soon as we come in with Act 3, we have a big hit, and then we drop it down a little bit. We reintroduce some of the melodies, but we kind of bring it down a little bit. We sort of keep the tension there a little bit, and then we explode in the second half. Now in the final section of your trailer music song, you need to be throwing everything at it. It should be in 5th gear, balls to the wall, everything's laid to the teeth, be it percussion's going ham, string line melodies, brass, vocals, sound design, you name it, everything's just going ham. I really like dropping the intensity down a little bit before that because I find the contrast helps a lot. And if I'm just staying loud all the time, my loud parts aren't going to sound as loud, whereas if I actually go really quiet and then loud, it actually makes that loud part sound even louder. So give that a try next time you're working on kind of song. Bring it down a little bit before you throw everything at it in that final section. And just to quickly touch on this final end sting, we've got our 6 percussion layers. We've got our trailer hit. We've also got our sub bass hit. We've added in the whooshes because again, a whoosh into a hit makes the hit sound louder. We've also added the downer. This sounds good as is, but final touch will add in our signature sound. Now onto the mix, and in trailer music, percussion is king, so we start with balancing that first. First thing is these bass hits. We added some R bass. Next, these trailer hits. And there's a few things we did here. We sent these trailer hits through MOTT, but we also sent signal from our bass hits to the trailer percussion EQ that we have here. And this is a dynamic EQ, so the trailer percussion reduces in volume when the bass sub hits come in. Now we've got our low percussion. We just added some dynamic EQs here just for a bit of extra movement. Sent these through OTT as well. And then we've got our stick hits. Same thing. Now what we did next was we sent all the tracks except for the percussion through tape as well as virtual mix rack, and we added saturation where I thought it improved the sound. And then what I did coming up here, I selected all of the tracks, I clicked render in place, and then I rendered all of the tracks as separate events and I disabled the source tracks. This just saved a lot of CPU, and all of the original tracks are still here in the system if I ever want to go back and undo some of the settings that I did before. Next main section is the choirs. What I did with these was I added this plugin called Vocal Finalizer. Have a listen to this now, and now we'll turn it on. So much wider. Now for the bass and Brahms, more R bass. But I also added in this bass lane. This is just to add some extra side harmonics, just to make it sound a little bit wider again. Then with the synth pad, we added a harsh effect to delay the right speaker, and I panned it as well. Now if we listen to this with the percussion, it sounds okay, but this is a key thing. This is a dynamic EQ, and I've set this up in sidechain mode, and I've sent the signal from my percussion track to the input of this FabFilter plugin. And if I turn it on, you'll see as soon as the percussion hits, it's going to duck this frequency. This helps to keep the bass sound strong when the percussion isn't playing, but it makes the bass get out of the way when the percussion hits. And we always want to make room for that percussion, especially in trailer music. Just a simple thing with the brass, just a little bit of extra air on top. Now with the strings, just a couple of EQs on the top bits. Add in the low strings. I sent these through tape again, and then another version of Mixrack, making sure this doesn't hit the peak at 0. And this plugin is normally used on guitars, but we added a little bit on the strings here just for a bit of extra bite. For For sound design, all we did was here, we again set the same signal to the bass, to that bass EQ. But we also added this extra one, so some of those higher notes cut through the bass notes as well. I then went through and added reverb. I'm mostly using this with a combination of Seventh Heaven, but for the vocals, I'm also using Cinematic Rooms, but I'm using the Cathedral patch. For some of the tracks, I'm also using this Capitol Chambers. And then lastly, of course, we've got the Black Hole. I believe only the piano is going to this one. We've then got some delays, and I'm using Echo Boy here, and I've just got Echo Boy set to different rhythm notes, 1/16th note, 1/8th note, and then I've also got a quarter note and a half note. These are the main ones that I'm using, and I'm sending some signal, the high strings with and without the delays. Same with the low strings. And then we've got our cymbal on. This is going to a few different ones. This also has a little bit of that scoring pluck sound in there too. Next one is this ping with the low pluck too. And then the synth harps are going there too. All up. And with the downer sound effect, again a bit more R bass. I love this plugin. Now with the master, I first added Soothe just to reduce some harshness. And then I added this trimmer. And then the back CQ just to lift the sides a bit. Lots of dynamic EQ here. We're taking some lows out of the sides. We're making the lows bounce in the middle. We're overall dynamic EQ in the middle. We're taking some highs out of the middle. And we're making the highs in the sides bounce a little bit too. MB just to glue the percussion a little bit where needed. SSL compressor, again more compression. Fairchild. UAD Ampex master tape. And lastly, Trusty L2 for limiting. And the Julian loudness meter just to make sure we're not clipping anything. And I'm also using this Tonal Balance Control 2 plugin from Isotope on the bass heavy effect. And I'm using this as a guide for my overall frequency range in my trailer music. So that's the full breakdown of this trailer song, all the way from initial idea to finished master. Next time I'll triple check OBS to make sure all of my screens are recording before starting a 6-hour session. But I hope you got some value out of this video, and next time I will be bringing you along for the whole ride. In the meantime, I hope you stay well, keep healthy, and keep on writing some great music. Thank you for watching.